शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So we are reading the third chapter of Science of Self-Realization. So we are going in detail all these chapters because the purpose of reading scriptures, the initial purpose should be like, okay, I know the shlokas, I know how to read, I know the story. So that is the first level of benefit. If we go deeper, if we dive deeper into it, and if we try to understand, even if we can understand one verse of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or Science of Self-Realization, our faith and commitment, our determination increases. So that's the reason we are doing more detailed study. So that's the reason asking you all to summarize again, or what did we learn, because time is very valuable. Time is Krishna, Kalosmi, he is Krishna himself. So when we learn to respect our time and others' time, then we will definitely do good in our life. So you all come here and sit 50 minutes and spend your time, which you could have spent otherwise. So let's all focus, because those who is speaking and those who is hearing and those who ask question, everybody gets benefited in this process, because this is spiritual subject matter. So I know you all are such wonderful kids who focus a lot and listen. So let's go. I think we stopped here. Last time we stopped here, right? Killing animals, and animals also have soul.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. So we'll go to this. So as always, somebody take turn to read. It will be more interactive like that. Okay, Mihika, I saw your hand raised. Okay, go ahead.
Christ, Christians, and Krishna. Christ can take the sufferings from for the previous sins of his devotees. But first they have to be sane. Why should I put Jesus Christ into suffering for my sins? Let me stop my sinful activities. Suppose a man, the favorite son of his father, commits a murder, and suppose he thinks, if there is any punishment coming, my father can suffer for me. Will the law allow it? When the murderer is arrested, no, you can release me and arrest my father. I'm his pet son. Will the police officials comply with that fool's request? He committed the murder, but he thinks his father should suffer the punishment. Is that a sane proposal? No. You have committed the murder, you must be hanged. Similarly, when you commit sinful activities, uh, um you must suffer, not Jesus Christ. This is God's law. Jesus Christ was such a great personality, the Son of God, the representative of God. He had no fault, still he was crucified. He wanted to deliver God consciousness, but in return they crucified him. They were so thankless. They could not appreciate his preachings, but we appreciate him and give him all honor as respect as the representative of God.
So Christ, Christians, and Krishna. So Prabhupada is talking to some Christian church fathers, pastors. So he's having this conversation with him. So here we get to know what is Prabhupada's understanding, how he respects other religions, what is his perspective towards him. So we respect Jesus Christ as a great personality and as the Son of God. He is a representative of God. So we have learned in 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Do you all remember the slokas in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Does anybody remember that slokas?
Mataji, I do.
Okay, so let me share that. So we just remember that once again. So can someone else take turn to read the sloka? Anyone else?
Can Jyotsna try?
Okay, try. Go ahead.
Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham.
Very good. Read the translation also.
Okay. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and the predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself.
And for what other reason Krishna descends? Someone else take turn and read this sloka.
Manhar?
Manhar, go ahead.
Okay. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge.
Read the translation.
Deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium.
So to establish the principles of religion, Krishna himself appears millennium after millennium, and Krishna also sends his representatives like Jesus Christ. And who else is a representative of Krishna? Like somebody, an acharya is also a representative of Krishna. And who is that? Can someone name that? Who we are very familiar?
Prabhupada?
Prabhupada, yes. Prabhupada is eternal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada is like, he also come to deliver people, like so many people in the Western countries, in the Indian countries, all of us. Because Prabhupada has translated all these scriptures into English. He came here at a very late age and preached to all the people about chanting of the holy name, how we can go back, what is our relationship with God, who we are. So all of us are able to know spiritual knowledge. So in similar ways, Jesus Christ is also such a great personality who is a son of God, representative of God. Either Krishna will come directly as he promises in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, or he will send his representatives. And he also sends books, Vedas, scriptures, which also helps us to find who is our father, who is the master of this entire spiritual world, material world. But what happened? The Christians who are following are very thankless. So instead of appreciating Jesus Christ's peace, they are asking him to suffer for the sins they are doing, which we should not be doing. So who else in our process, in our parampara also, someone kind of takes our sins? Who is that? Does anybody know?
Our spiritual master?
Spiritual master. Wonderful. Yes. If you take up a spiritual master and if you do a fire sacrifice, yajna, and if you take the mantra and diksha from him, saying that, promising that I will follow the 4 regulative principles. What are those 4 regulative principles? Someone else can tell me the 4 regulative principles?
No mediating, no illicit sex, no gambling. I forgot the last one.
No intoxication.
Yeah, no intoxication.
So if we promise in front of the fire that we will be following these 4 and we will be chanting our rounds, 16 rounds minimum, and when we promise that in front of fire, then all our sins at that point of time will be gone, and then we will start a new life as a disciple of our spiritual master. And for any reason we break these, then spiritual master gets credited for the sins that we are doing. So we should not be thankless. We should not be somebody who should not be having any gratitude. We have to honor, because spiritual master is also a representative of God. We have learned in the second chapter of Science of Self-Realization that how spiritual master is a representative of God and how we respect him on par with God, and how he is a via media who will take us to Krishna. So that's why, so we should not be thankless like these people who are doing sinful activities and asking the representative of the God to suffer for that. Okay, next turn for someone else to read. All of you take turns to read because these are in simple English. Mihika, since your turn is over, you want to lower your hand. Okay, Manhar, go ahead.
Okay. Of course, the message that Christ preached was just according to this particular time, place, and country, and just suited for a particular group of people. But certainly he is the representative of God. Therefore we adore Lord Jesus Christ and offer our obeisances to him. Once in Melbourne, in a group of Christian ministers came to visit me. They asked, "What is your idea of Jesus Christ?" I told him, "He's our guru. He is preaching God consciousness, so he is our spiritual master." The ministers very much appreciated that. Actually, anyone who's preaching God's glories must be accepted as a guru. Jesus Christ is one of such great personality. We should not think of him as an ordinary human being. The scriptures say that anyone who considers the spiritual master an ordinary man has a hellish mentality. If Jesus Christ were an ordinary man, then he could not have delivered God consciousness.
So this should be our approach. If anybody asks us also, what is your idea of Jesus Christ? We have to repeat what Prabhupada has said. He's guru, he's preaching God consciousness. So we pay our obeisances to him. He's very respectable person, great personality, representative of God. Because Jesus Christ also preached God consciousness according to the particular time, place, and country. Like how Sankaracharya, we have learned how he preached impersonalism, because the people at that point of time are thinking that Krishna's body and our body is same, but Krishna's body is spiritual and our body is material. So they are considering Krishna's body also material. So that's why Sankaracharya, for that time and place and circumstances, has told that God does not have any personal form. For that time, he also know that God has a personal spiritual form. But people are thinking God's form is also material. That's why he preached that. Similarly, according to the time, place, and circumstance, Krishna sent his representative, Jesus Christ, to preach God consciousness, at least to people in the Western countries. So we should not be disrespecting, but we should just pay our obeisances. But we are more focusing on reaching Krishna, going back to the spiritual world. That's why we focus, we meditate, we chant the mantra that is prescribed for this Kali Yuga. But at the same time, we should not be disrespecting Jesus Christ or anybody. So we just have to understand what is our position, what is their position. So that's what it is. Because also somebody who is God, who is preaching God consciousness, who is delivering God consciousness to many souls, he's not an ordinary person. He's already empowered by Krishna. Some of the avatars are empowered, like Krishna gives them special powers to do a specific task. So in one or the other way, Krishna invests his energy in them, and that's why they are able to do things which are very, very difficult if we think otherwise. So we need to respect. We have to, first of all, respect each and every living entity. If you all remember, I had a session last year. Why do we have to respect each and everybody? We discussed 2 points at that time, if anybody remembers. Or you all can guess what could be those 2 points that we should be respecting everybody. Anybody? That's okay. If your answer is going to be wrong or right, can try.
Can I try?
Yeah.
So because everyone's heart has Paramatma, so you're basically respecting the Paramatma.
Yes. First of all, our spiritual nature is same. Spiritually, we are all same. We are all souls. The outward dresses may be different. Some may be wearing a boy dress, some may be wearing a girl dress, some may be rich, some may be poor, some may be white, some may be black, some may be something else, living in some other country, some may be. But basically, we are all spiritually the same, the soul. And the second point is that we are all related to Krishna. All of us are related to Krishna. Even an animal, a dog, cat, everybody is related to Krishna. And in all those bodies also, Krishna is there as Paramatma, accompanying them. So we respect because we are all related with respect to Krishna. So we will be respecting each and everybody. So we need to have that humbleness that we will be giving honor and respect to others, and we should not expect for ourselves. Then only we will become eligible to get Krishna's mercy and spiritual master's mercy. So that is what it is. So now let's go to the next slide. Next, who is going to read? Joshna. Manhar, can you lower your hand? And Mihika, you're done. So can you also lower your hand?
Thou shalt not kill. At ISKCON's Paris Center, Srila Prabhupada talks with Cardinal Jean Daniello. The Bible does not simply say, do not kill the human being. It says broadly, thou shalt not kill. Why do you interpret this to suit your own convenience? When there is no food, someone may eat meat in order to keep from starving. There is another thing. That is another thing. But it is most sinful to regularly maintain slaughterhouses just to satisfy your tongue.
So this is another conversation which in detail Prabhupada is going to have with another pastor. So here Prabhupada is saying, do not interpret whatever the preachings Jesus Christ has told according to your convenience. So we should also remember this. When we are approaching Bhagavad Gita and reading, we should not interpret it according to what we understand. Our understanding may be very little, because some of us may be only in 10, you are all maybe 10 years, 11 years, maybe some of us maybe 30, 40 years. We won't be seeing much in our life. If we have a little bit of comfortable life, we may not even have seen any problems, any sickness. So we won't be knowing how the peoples who are suffering in those problems, who are having those sickness, even behave. Once you go out and you see in the world how people are handling these things, how it is, how they are suffering, then you will know. There are so many countries in which wars happen, they don't have any food to eat. All the countries, all the developed countries will send them packets, because there will be always bombing happening there. So they won't have a proper place to live. They don't have facilities to cook or house to live. They will be living in camps. So they will get everything in a packet. Sometimes everything is powdered and comes, like some kind of carrots, peas, pulses, rice, and everything comes in one small packet. And then they will just cook it in hot water and eat that all through the year, 365 days. They may not be able to eat like how we are eating sabji, dal, pizza, cookies, cakes. So they don't have all these varieties. They don't have that kind of a luxury, because they are living in a war zone. They don't have any place to live. They don't have a house. So when we see all those things, we will learn how they are surviving. For us, we think that, oh, if I don't have my favorite food today, then I won't be able to survive at all. If my mother don't make pizza, I'll make a big fuss in the house, shout and cry, saying, I want pizza, I want cake, I want cookie. But if we can just imagine for a second how those people are eating that for 365 days, we will immediately appreciate ourselves and then say that, no, what I am, whatever the position I am in right now, that is really good. So I should appreciate the efforts my mother is putting in cooking. For some reason today she could not cook. So when you start perceiving things which are beyond your comfort zone, you will understand life even more better. If you start interpreting the scriptures with your own knowledge, with your own experiences, then you are doing a biggest mistake. So that's why Prabhupada is saying here, thou shall not kill means it doesn't just apply to human beings. Joshna, go ahead and read this also, and then we'll go to the next slide.
Srila Prabhupada, Jesus Christ said, "Thou shalt not kill." So why is it that the Christian people are engaged in animal killing? Cardinal Danielo. Certainly in Christianity it is forbidden to kill, but we believe that there is a difference between the life of a human being and the life of the beasts. The life of a human being is sacred because man is made in the image of God. Therefore, to kill a human being is forbidden. Srila Prabhupada. But the Bible does not simply say, do not kill the human being. It says broadly, thou shalt not kill. Cardinal Danielo. We believe that only human life is sacred. Srila Prabhupada. That is your interpretation. The commandment is thou shalt not kill. Cardinal Danielo. It is necessary for man to kill animals in order to have food to eat. Srila Prabhupada. No, man can eat grains, vegetables, fruits, and milk. Cardinal Danielo. No flesh. Srila Prabhupada. No, human beings are meant to eat vegetarian food. The tiger does not come to eat your fruit. His prescribed food is animal flesh, but humans' food is vegetables, fruits, grains, and milk products. So how can you say that animal killing is not a sin?
So this is the discussion Prabhupada is having. So if you all see, it is definitely that human life is very, very responsible and important, but it's not that only the humans have a soul and all the other living entities does not have. So in the picture, if you all see, I have different living entities like whales, crocodiles, camels, zebra, tiger, everything. All of these have same soul, exactly same soul what we have. Exactly same soul what we have, we also have in all the living entities. There are 8.4 million species. We are just one human who are having this kind of a body, but there are 8.4 million species. All of them have the same soul which is inside this body, which is we. They're all same, but according to their desires and actions, they have been put into that body. They have been jailed into that bodies. Like how we have been, according to our actions and desires, we are in this body. Similarly, the souls went into those bodies. They got those bodies because they did that kind of an actions which made them go into those bodies. But all of them are same. So Prabhupada is saying humans are meant to eat vegetarian food. If there is nothing, you're in a forest, you're not finding anything to eat, but you have to survive, then you can eat meat, flesh. But for animals like tiger, lion, they eat flesh. Because some people argue that if we don't eat animals, then animals will grow in bigger number and they will become a threat. No, if we don't bring, nowadays what we are doing, we are growing extra animals to kill and eat. If we don't grow extra, then there is a natural order where four-leg animal will eat a two-leg animal, like that. The animal have a cycle, they eat. So eating flesh is allowed for animal bodies, but not the human bodies. If we are doing something which is not meant for our body, then we may have to take the body that allows that, because whatever the actions that we are doing are going before us. So they are already deciding what will be our next life. If we are behaving like an animal in a human form of body, then for sure our next life will be animal. Okay, someone else take turn to read, please.
Mataji, can I read?
Is that?
Mihika.
Mihika, you read, right? I'm just wondering those who didn't read will get a turn. Is that okay, Mihika? I'll come back to you. Nihal, go ahead.
We believe it is a question of motivation. If the killing of an animal is for giving food to the hungry, then it is justified, Srila Prabhupada. But consider the cow. We drink her milk, therefore she is our mother. Do you agree? Cardinal Daniel. Yes, surely, Srila Prabhupada. So if the cow is your mother, how can you support killing her? You take the milk from her, and when she is old, she cannot give you milk. You cut her throat. Is that a very mundane proposal? In India, those who are meat eaters are advised to kill some lower animals like goats, pigs, or even buffalo. But cow killing is the greatest sin. In preaching Krishna consciousness, we ask people not to eat any kind of meat, and my disciples strictly follow this principle. But if under certain circumstances others are unable to eat, they should eat the flesh of some lower animal. Don't kill cows. It is the greatest sin. As long as a man is sinful, he cannot understand God. The human being's main business is to understand God and to love Him. But if you remain sinful, you will never be able to understand God. What to speak of loving Him?
Wonderful. So Prabhupada is saying, so the pastor is saying, oh, we believe it is a question of motivation. If killing of animals is for giving food to the hungry, so now he's trying to justify that. Oh, if we kill animals and give that food to the hungry people, then it will be justified. So that's what the priest of the church is saying. But consider the cow. We drink her milk, therefore she is our mother. Do you agree? So Srila Prabhupada is asking, so how can you kill cow which is giving you milk that we drink? So when we drink milk, cow becomes our second mother, like our mother and cow are mothers. So how are you killing somebody who is feeding you? So if cow is your mother, how can you support killing her? If you take the milk from her and when she's old, can't give you milk, you cut her throat. So that is what is happening in these days in the society. So humans are killing after the cow stops giving milk. They are killing the cows and they are feeding the lower animals. But cow killing is the greatest sin because cow is considered as mother. So killing a mother is the greatest sin, and similarly killing cows is greatest sin. So Prabhupada is saying don't kill cows and eat the flesh, because if you are sinful by killing the cows and if you are sinful by killing the animals, then you will not be able to understand God. We have to understand God, and then we should grow to the level where we can love the God without even understanding. Like if you all don't know what your parents are really doing for you, even now at your ages, you may not be able to understand what kind of sacrifices they do for you. It looks to you all like, oh, it is so easy for my mom. She doesn't go to work, or she goes to work. She just have to cook food and put for a year. So her life is so much fun. Even if she's sick, even if she's not well, she makes sure that the dinner is ready for you, lunch is ready for you. So you may not be knowing the sacrifices behind their acts. So if you don't understand them, you will not be able to love them unconditionally. So when you try to understand them fully, like when you grow a little big, then you will understand. When you are doing that by yourself, you will understand how your parents has done that for you, and you will start loving them even more. So to love somebody, you have to understand them fully. So that is the whole process that you are all doing. We are trying to understand Krishna. What are the energies of Krishna? What all Krishna do for us? How much he helps us? How much he is there for us? So we are trying to understand Krishna. When we understand God, we will love him. But for that, what will be the biggest obstacle? If we do sins, then that will be a biggest obstacle. So we have to stop doing knowingly at least certain kinds of sin, so that we can understand God and we can love him. Let's say if you all think that, oh, Mataji, maybe my house still we sometimes eat non-vegetarian, then don't worry. For now, start chanting the holy name of the Lord, because for holy name there is no restriction. You add holy name to your life, chant the holy names of the Lord, and Krishna will help you to grow to a stage where you can give up that. So don't worry about that if any of you have that kind of a situation. So next, who is going to read next? So Joshna, Manhar, Mihika and Nihal read. I have Rahav and Satvik and Kushi, I guess. So any one of you from three of you, Satvik, Raghav and Kushi.
Can I read
Any one
next?
of you can read? Satvik, go ahead.
I think perhaps this is not a central point. The important thing is to love God. The practical commandments can vary from one religion to the next. Srila Prabhupada. So in the Bible, God's practical commandment is that you cannot kill. Therefore, killing cows is a sin for you. Cardinal, how do you say that word? Danilo.
Cardinal Daniel, if you don't want, you can just say CD and go ahead and read the conversation.
Oh, okay. God says to the Indians that killing is not good, and he says to the Jews that Srila Prabhupada, no, Jesus Christ taught, thou shalt not kill. Why do you interpret it this to suit your own convenience? Cardinal Daniel. But Jesus allowed the sacrifice of the pasture lamb. Srila Prabhupada. But he never maintained a slaughterhouse. Cardinal Daniel. No, but he did eat meat.
So the other kind of justification the pastor is giving, the first one he said that animals does not have sacred soul. So we can kill animals, but we should not kill humans. Now he is saying that this killing instruction is only for Indians. It's not for Indians and Jew people. It's not for us. We can kill the animals. Again, Prabhupada is saying, what is Prabhupada is saying? Do not interpret the instructions of the representative of God who came to preach you all God consciousness according to your own intelligence. So, and then the pastor is saying, oh, but Jesus allowed sacrifice of lamb. And Prabhupada is saying, but he never maintained any slaughterhouse. Nowadays, we are maintaining slaughterhouse. What does happen in the slaughterhouses? They grow, they kind of make the cow give birth every year. Naturally, she may not give birth that fast, but they kind of put a lot of hormones and they make her give birth every year. They kind of make her produce more and more cows to kill them. So they are actually making them produce them and then kill them. So it's biggest sin. So sacrificing a goat or something, even the scriptures say when you do it for a higher cause and when you offer it to the goddess Kali, then the lamb or the goat that is sacrificed gets next time a human form of life. So that is done only once in a while for a higher cause, but not for the sense gratification, for eating. Nowadays, we are growing different kinds of animals for eating. Earlier, only hens were grown, but now hens, fishes, pigs, what not, all animals, because those animals are lower, they're having lower species, lower consciousness and bodies which can be controlled by humans. We are doing that, and that is sin. So next, Raghav and Kushi, who wants to read? Are you in a comfortable position to read? I don't know that. So you can say no also, no problem.
Mataji, I can read.
Go ahead, Raghav.
So do I read all 3 paragraphs?
Yes.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada, when there is no other food, someone may eat meat in order to keep from starving. That is another thing, but it is most sinful to regularly maintain slaughterhouses just to satisfy your tongue. Actually, you will not even have a human society until this cruel practice of maintaining slaughterhouses is stopped. And although animal killing may sometimes be necessary for survival, at least the mother animal, the cow, should not be killed. That is simply human decency. In the Krishna consciousness movement, our practice is that we do not allow the killing of any animals. Krishna said, Patram pushpam palam toyam yomibhakta prayachati. Vegetables, fruits, milk, and grains should be offered to me in devotion. Bhagavad Gita 9.26. We take only the remnants of Krishna's food, prasad. The trees offer us many varieties of fruits, but the trees are not killed. Of course, one living entity is food for another living entity, but that does not mean you can kill your mother for food. Cows are innocent. They give us milk. You take their milk and then kill them in the slaughterhouse. This is sinful.
So Prabhupada is emphasizing here that when there is no food, you can eat meat for your survival because you have to protect you from starving. That is a different thing. But maintaining slaughterhouses, especially to kill, is very, very sinful, and it is not even a human behavior. And how Prabhupada is, and especially killing mother cow, scriptures say that it is very, very sinful. So we can eat fruits, vegetables, plants give us variety of things to offer and eat. And Krishna says that when you offer these things to me and eat, it becomes prasada. All sin surrounded surrounded it will be removed. And especially cows are very innocent. They eat grass and they give us milk, yogurt. From milk we make yogurt and so many other sweets. So we should not be killing the cows in the slaughterhouse. This is very, very sinful. So you all may be wondering, Mataji, how can we contribute to this? So if you start using the products that are made out of cow skin, that itself, like in one way, you are protecting the cows, because you are not encouraging those shops, because you are not buying. So that is one thing we can do. And whenever we can donate to the slaughterhouses and save some cows, or we can donate to goshalas, or we can go there and do service. That all becomes cow service. So cow is considered a very, very sacred animal, and we actually worship cow. So killing cow is altogether a sinful thing. So you all may be wondering, I'm not killing cow directly, so how I can protect me from not involving myself in that sin? Don't buy the products which are made of cow skin. So make sure when you are buying a product that it is not made of cow skin, because people, to show to show off, or because it gives a lot of warmth, they use leather products which are like cows animal skins. So if we stop using them itself, in one way we are not taking part in that sinful activity. So sometimes we may not be directly taking part, but when we purchase those products and consume them, we may be indirectly take parting in those sinful actions. As long as we are doing these sinful activities, then understand that we cannot understand God and we cannot love God. So that will become an obstacle for us, and we have to suffer for our sins also. Kushi, can you read? Are you in a position to read? Okay, I don't see a response.
Mataji?
Okay, Manhar?
Okay. Should I read?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada, student, Srila Prabhupada, Christianity's sanction of meat eating is based on the view that lower species of life do not have a soul like the human beings. Srila Prabhupada, that is foolishness. First of all, we have to understand the evidence of the soul present within the body. Then we can see whether the human has a soul and the cow does not. What are the different characteristics of the cow and the man? If we find a difference in characteristics, then we can say that in the animal there's no soul. But if we see that the animal and the human being have the same characteristics, then how can you say that the animal has no soul? The general symptoms are that the animal eats, you eat, the animal sleeps, you sleep, the animal mates, you mate, the animal defends and you defend. Where is the difference?
So one of the students said, Christians believe because animals does not have soul because they are lower species, only humans have. So Prabhupada is highly condemning that. And Bhagavad Gita also condemns that. Every 8.4 million species, all of them have soul. And how we can prove this? Showing the symptoms of the presence of a soul. Like how? Like we are eating, we are mating, we are sleeping, we are defending. Even the animals do all those things. Animals also respond. That's why we saw a picture of a cow crying when it is getting killed. They also have feelings. They just don't have a developed consciousness like all of us. They cannot chant, they cannot speak, they cannot read books. Those things they cannot do. Humans can do. So humans should use those things and know about God. But animals also have soul. If soul is not there in the animal bodies, they cannot do all these things. That's the reason animals also die, and we cannot produce animals in the factory. We have to produce them from another animal, it's from the same animal itself. So that's what Prabhupada is condemning, saying that that is foolishness. Even the animals also have soul. Mihika, you asked earlier. I asked you to wait for everyone to finish.
Cardinal Danilo, we admit that in the animal there may be the same type of biological existence as in men, but there is no soul. We believe that the soul is a human soul. Srila Prabhupada. Or Bhagavad Gita says, Sarva Yonishu. In all species of life, the soul exists. The body is like a suit of clothes. You have black clothes. I'm dressed in saffron clothes. But within the dress, you are a human being, and I'm also a human being. Similarly, the bodies of different species are just like different types of dresses. They are they are soul, a part and parcel of God. Suppose a man has two sons, not equally meritorious. One may be a Supreme Court judge and the other may be a common laborer, but the father claims both as his sons. He does not make the distinction that the son who is a judge is very important and the worker son distinction is not important. Sorry. And if the judge son says, "My dear father, your other son is useless. Let me cut him up and eat him," will the father allow this?
So Prabhupada answered so nicely. So according to Christians, so they believe that only human, the soul is human soul only. Soul is not like human, like Devi Devata, Gandharva. It is not like that. Soul is soul, which is the same material. So that's why we and Krishna are same, because soul have the characteristics of Krishna. So we are equal as Krishna in quality. Quantity we may not be equal. So soul is same in all the living entities. So Prabhupada gives a wonderful example. If a father has two sons, one son become very successful in life and the other son did not become successful, like let's say animals are not so successful, so advanced, so not God consciousness or anything. So one son cannot say that I'll kill the other son and eat. So that is what it is when we engage ourselves in the sinful activity of killing animals or supporting killing animals. And what is the sloka which Prabhupada has mentioned here? Sarva Yonishu. It is 14.4. So I want someone to take turn to read this sloka. So who is taking turn to read the sloka? Manhar and Mihika got second chance. So someone else who wants to read?
Try.
Okay, go ahead, Joshna.
Sarva Yonishu Kanteya Murtayaha Sambhavanti Yah Tasam Brahma Mahadyonir Aham Bija Pradaha Pita.
Can you read this?
It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father.
So Krishna is father for all species of life. Sarva Yonishu, all the species of life, Krishna is the father. And all of them have soul. So all of them are sons of Krishna. It is not that Krishna loves humans more and animals less, like that. He's father for all of them. He wants the souls inside the animal bodies also to come back to him. He wants the souls in the human body also to come back to him. But the souls inside the human body are little bit more developed, understanding and well off. So Krishna wants them to come to him back very quickly, but he does not allow humans to kill animals. So for anything in our life, we find answers in Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada, if you see all the conversations Prabhupada is having, he's having difficult conversations, but he is quoting the verses from Bhagavad Gita and answering that. So we all should also develop this kind of a nature. We should not be emotional, sentiment, aggressive, get angry and speak mean. We can quote from the scriptures and say how they are wrong. And we should always maintain that respect and that kind of decorum, how we converse, where we do conversations. So I think I have three more. Hopefully we will be done. So, okay. Next, who wants to take turn to read this one, the slide? Nihal, go ahead. Nihal.
Cordial Danielu. Certainly not, but the idea that all life is part of the life of God is difficult for us to admit. There is a great difference between human life and animal life. Srila Prabhupada. The difference is due to the development of consciousness. In the human body, there is a developed consciousness. Even a tree has a soul, but a tree's consciousness is not very developed. If you cut a tree, it does not resist. Actually, it does resist, but only to a small degree. There is a scientist named Jagadish Chandra Bose who has made a machine which which shows that trees and plants are able to feel pain when they are cut. And we see that directly when someone comes to kill an animal, it resists, it cries, it makes a horrible sound. So it is a matter of development of consciousness, but the soul is within all living beings. But metaphysically, the life of a man is sacred. Human beings think on a higher platform than the animals.
So the father is still not agreeing. He's saying that only humans are part of the God, but not the other animals. But Bhagavad Gita doesn't say that. Krishna doesn't say that. Krishna says, all the species, I am the seed giving father for them. They are part and parcel of me. Because Krishna is saying at a spiritual level, because the soul inside them is spiritual. The body is material. Even for the material world, Krishna is the master. And spiritual, we are all actually eternal like spiritual souls. We are not our bodies, we are souls. So the father is not able to understand. And Prabhupada is mentioning what is the difference between animals and humans. Humans have a developed consciousness, whereas the animals does not have, or the other species does not have, but they also feel that pain. A tree also feels pain when it is getting cut. So the Shastras say that unnecessarily we should not go and pluck the leaves of the tree, cut the branches of the tree. We should not harm anything unnecessarily, because all of them also have a soul. They may not be able to express vocally outside, but they do feel. And we see that animals also know the threat they are having from human beings. When they get trapped by the hunters, when they are trapped in the slaughterhouses, they cry. They know that they are going to be killed. They can feel that. But their consciousness is not as developed as our consciousness, where we defend, we shout, we cry, we do the things. But animals also have consciousness. It is only the matter of development of consciousness. That is the only difference between the other species and humans. Humans have the developed consciousness and animals does not have that. That is only the difference. So we'll go for the next slide also. Okay, someone else who did not read second.
Can Jyotsna read?
Okay, go ahead.
Srila Prabhupada, yes. So metaphysically search out why you believe that there is no soul within the animal. That is metaphysics. If you are thinking metaphysically, that's all right. But if you are thinking like an animal, then what is the use of your metaphysical study? Metaphysical means above the physical or in other worlds. Spiritual. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya, in every living being there is a spirit soul. That is metaphysical understanding. Now, either you accept Krishna's teaching as metaphysical, or you'll have to take a third class fool's opinion as metaphysical. What do you accept? Cardinal Danielo. But why does God create some animals who eat other animals? There is a fault in the creation, it seems. Srila Prabhupada, it is not a fault. God is very kind. If you want to eat animals, then He'll give you full facility. God will give you the body of a tiger in your next life so that you can eat flesh very freely. Why are you maintaining slaughterhouses? I'll give you fangs and claws, now eat. So the meat eaters are awaiting such punishment. The animal eaters become tiger, wolves, cats, and dogs in their next life to get more facility.
Very good. Someone else can read the next one. I will explain both. Or there is no next one. There is no next one. Okay. So Prabhupada is saying here, so So the pastor, the father was saying like, oh, metaphysically still humans are better than animals. Then Prabhupada is saying metaphysics means something beyond physics, that is spiritual. So, but in the words which Krishna spoken in Bhagavad Gita are spiritual words, because when Krishna comes down to this material world, he comes in his own spiritual body. So whatever Krishna speaks are not materially oriented, are only true for certain point of time. And Krishna is saying he is the father of every living entity, and in every living being there is a spirit soul. That means animals also have a spirit soul and humans also have a spirit soul. So then father is asking, then why does the God create some animals to eat and other animals? That is not fair. And Prabhupada is giving a wonderful explanation here. So Krishna is like our father. If we have a desire to do something, he will let us do in that kind of a body, and he will take us. So if you have a desire to eat animals, then Krishna is saying, if you have been as a human, if you are eating animals all through your life, then I better give you an animal body so that you can eat and you don't get any sins. I'll give you fangs and claws so that you don't need to main slaughterhouses to cut the animals with knife and all. You can cut with your own claws and eat them, and you can eat those animals and you won't get the sin. But that is not the path that we want to go, because when we are going down the path from the humans, that means it's very difficult for us to go back to the spiritual world, because our consciousness goes down, because human life is the place where from here we can go to the spiritual world. Even if we desire to go to the heavenly planets, from there we cannot go to the spiritual world. Heavenly planets are and hellish planets are like vacation spots. If you got good karma, then you will go to the heaven and you enjoy. If you have bad karma, you will go to the hellish planets and suffer. But there, in those two places, you cannot acquire any karma. That means you cannot earn anything in your bank balance. That's why human form of life is so sacred, so valuable, because it is like we are at a junction point where we can directly go to the spiritual world. We don't need to go to the heavenly planets, or we don't need to go to the animal bodies and hellish planets. So for that, we have to avoid certain kinds of sins, because when we avoid sinful activities, that's when we will be able to understand God and we will be able to love God. And when we love God unconditionally, that's when we will go back to Krishna. So all this conversation will help all of you to understand how you can look at the other religions and how Prabhupada is answering these difficult questions. So you can just repeat what Prabhupada is answering. You don't need to really frame your own words also. Remember, third chapter of Science of Self-Realization, Prabhupada spoke about this. We discussed about this. Go quickly, refer to it and refer Prabhupada and speak, and then you will be able to understand it. So I'll stop here. I don't have today time to summarize. But in the next session, we will do that, because there is a class at 6 o'clock. I have to conclude this session. Manhar, you have any doubt?
It's not a doubt, but I want to say two things. And isn't cow not an animal also?
I did not understand your question.
Like, isn't a cow not an animal?
Cow is sacred. Cow is more than an animal. That I know. When you say cow is not an animal, I'm not understanding that part.
Okay.
Maybe we can discuss that next week, Manhar, more, because I think next class will start. So I don't want to cause any inconvenience for the next class. Okay. Thank you all so much. We finished the third chapter of Science of Self-Realization. We'll go to the fourth chapter next session. And we will also summarize this session a little bit. Thank you all so much, wonderful kids. Pancha kalpatarubhyasya, krupa sindhubhya evacha, patitanam bhavanebhyo, vaishnavebhyo.